time of the week, Flight Zone is ready to take off, and I am so excited to kick off this episode because we have a lot to celebrate, so let's take flight. With March Madness being over and Arizona losing and Michigan winning, our cast clearly did not do well in the pool, but we have two special guests with us today. We have first place in our pool, Tatum Felty, and second place, Brooke Weston. Thank you guys so much for being here, and congratulations on winning the first ever Flight Zone March Madness tournament pool challenge. How does it feel to be here today and winning?
I'm a little nervous. I've never done anything like this before, but I'm excited for the opportunity.
And this was your first ever bracket that you've ever made in March Madness, and you won.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Feels pretty good. I guess you can say I have a little bit of beginner's luck, but I mean, hey, it all worked out. So.
Did either of you do anything to prepare when you were choosing the games? Any strategies, or were you like, I like this team, let's choose it and hope for the best? Or what did you do, and what was your strategy moving forward into this?
Okay. I looked at a little bit of the matchup predictor, and then I took into consideration the strength of schedule, and then I looked at a couple other stats here and there, but that was kind of my process behind it all.
Brooke?
I usually look at what they give me for stats. I don't know too much about basketball, but I take a lot of time because I just want to win, but I also want to have a good bracket. So I took some time, not anything
and good
particular.
bragging rights, if you will.
Yes, yeah.
Was there ever a point in the tournament where you felt, oh no, the teams I choose weren't doing well, or I might not win, or I might not do as well as I thought?
Yeah, my first round went pretty good. But then my second round, I started taking a lot of losses, and I was like, dang, is this it for me? Am I over already? But I don't know, I guess I ended up making a comeback.
I think I was 80% loss, so I was not hopeful whatsoever. I know I never have a good beginning bracket, and then towards the end, for some reason, Michigan was pulling through. So
yeah, I know. Yeah. I remember in the beginning, I think I was first, and Gwen and Sal were last, and then all of a sudden, you guys came out of nowhere. I feel like ever since Arizona lost, I was like, all right, I'm out. I hope Michigan wins because I knew you guys had them, and I wanted the girls to win. I didn't want the boys to win.
Yeah, girls win.
Literally. Was there any point where you were like, I have it in the bag, this is it? I know when Arizona was out, I was like, I'm out, but I think you guys were better when it was UConn versus Michigan. Or did you feel that way, or were you just
I was a little nervous because I was in first place and I had a little bit of a lead, but there was somebody that had UConn, and if UConn would have won, I would have lost by 20 points or something. So the last game really mattered, and it was a deciding factor if I was going to hold my spot or not.
I was, I think, 6th place and below the entire time because of my really bad bracket. But when it started picking up and my friends were telling me that Michigan was winning, and I was like, oh wow, maybe I can be up top, and I wasn't on the leaderboard at all until the very last game.
Yeah, I know. I wish we knew who the third place was, but we don't. I believe their name was Notre Dame winning it all, and Notre Dame
did not win it all.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about, but I'm happy you guys are here today, and we do have prizes for both of you for being the winners. So again, congratulations, and I hope you enjoy your prizes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sal.
You can show the camera too.
I love it.
Representing Truman.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you so much for participating in our first ever March Madness Flight Zone bracket. Up next, we have Fights with Frailey, and we'll see you guys real soon.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope we're all excited, because I'm certainly excited. We have a great card this weekend, UFC 327, and we have Yuri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg for the main event. And then we also have another really exciting fight that I wanted to talk about, which was Azamat Mirzakhanov versus Paulo Costa. Those are two fights that are just going to be outstanding, that I think every single UFC fan is really excited for. We're going to start with Azamat. He is a KO artist, 16-0. He's knocked out every single fighter in the UFC that he's fought, except for Dustin Jacoby. He's durable. He's dense, strong. he's going to be able to withstand a lot of Paulo Costa's punches, kicks. It's going to be a stand-up battle. It's going to be one for the ages. That's what we're all hoping for anyways. But Paulo Costa, this is going to be in the light heavyweight division, by the way. Paulo Costa has just moved up to that division. He's coming in with that lighter man skill. We're going to see him he's going to really be fast out there. But the problem with Paulo Costa is that he doesn't have that X factor of just insane power. He's going to be punching. It's going to look great. But whether or not he puts on a masterclass like some people say he will is going to be determined on how Azamat takes those punches and kicks. And he is, like I said, he's dense, he's strong, he's durable. It's going to be interesting. We're all really excited for it. I'm thinking that Azamat's going to get a KO, but we'll see. It might also go to a decision. It's really up in the air. It's kind of like a 50-50. Moving on to one of my favorite fighters, Yuri Prochazka. Guys, he's just going to get him. He's just going to get him. We've seen this happen before, especially in Yuri's last fight against Khalil Roundtree. That was an awesome fight. Made some money on that, if you know what I mean. But so Yuri Prochazka, he's wild. He's awkward. You can't really prepare for him. Like I said, like him being awkward, like he just throws crazy stuff at you, and you saw that with his last fight. Carlos, on the other hand, he's a sniper. He's very technical, great striker, and I think what we're going to see from him is like, you know, he's going to be on the outside. He's going to be throwing kicks and punches, jabs from the outside. Whether he gets a KO, and he does have KOs in the UFC, I just don't think it's going to happen. Like, Yuri's got a great chin. One of the things I had in my notes was Yuri Prochazka hasn't lost to anyone except for Alex Pereira in the last 10 years. That's an insane feat. Like, Alex Pereira is going to be one of the GOATs. You can't compare Carlos Ulberg to Alex Pereira with the power difference, just the strike. Alex is that guy. So that's why I'm going for Yuri Prochazka KO, probably second or third round. We'll see how it goes, but it's a championship fight. Alex Pereira has moved out of the light heavyweight division into the heavyweight division, so Yuri Prochazka has a chance to get his belt back here, which a lot of us fans are hoping for. Yeah, it's a great time to be a UFC fan right now. We're excited for Yuri. We're excited for this potential. The rest of the card, we've got some good fights, but nothing of... There was actually another title fight on the card, Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira. I don't know who pulled out of that one, but that was going to be an interesting fight because we all know how Joshua Van's title shot against Alex Pantoja went. It didn't, like, Alex Pantoja just got injured. Didn't go well. Like, it wasn't... Joshua Van isn't a champion yet. He still has to prove that. So I'm super excited for this weekend. That's all we got for this little breakdown. And back to you, Ella.
Thanks, Pierce. Coming back to the court, our bracket for March Madness is completely broken. Michigan won. Arizona was not even in the final game. How do we feel about that?
Not good. We were, what, third to last place in our bracket?
And then you were second to last.
I was second to last place. Third last, second last, last.
BYU disappointed me.
Yeah, definitely not our year.
Yeah.
I don't know. Disappointing. I mean, we got, what, one Final Four team? So, better than nothing. They didn't make the championship. Hey, we can only go up from here.
Yeah,
so.
that is true.
There's always next year.
Yeah, yeah. It was fun to make, but I do see a lot of red and a lot of X's on our bracket. But, I mean, what can you do? I did think Arizona had it, but unfortunately they kind of sold. And you know what? Michigan became the champions. I mean, what can you do?
I will say, obviously we all know I picked Wisconsin and they lost the first round. You look at the regular season, Wisconsin actually beat Michigan. So
Oh.
Did you pick that one for realsies, or were you trying to do like me, where it's like make it as bad as possible?
no, I was
Okay.
I was actually trying,
Oh.
which may be
Okay.
worse. But yeah, I mean, Michigan kind of surprised me. I was not expecting them. I thought they were kind of gonna like falter out in the first couple rounds of the tournament. They had one of the most dominant runs I've ever seen in March Madness, with their closest win coming in the championship against UConn by 6 points. And you know, it wasn't the best offensive game for Michigan. They shot 2 of 15 from 3, but defensively they smothered UConn. You know, made it really hard for them to get their shots off. They didn't shoot well from 3 or just their typical field goals. I was really surprised. I did kind of think Michigan. I thought they had a good chance against UConn, but I was not expecting them to lead by double digits close to the end of the game. I was disappointed in UConn. Definitely thought that they could have played better. Wasn't their best performance, but you know, what about you?
I mean, I had UConn on my personal bracket in the final, just losing to BYU and Clemson, so I was partially there. But yeah, definitely a dominant run from Michigan. I mean, just with 11 or so minutes left in the second half, Arizona had a 0.1% chance of winning, and you can't really come back from a 0.1% chance of winning, so they sold it pretty early. I think their highest chance of winning was at the beginning of the game with 47. So it wasn't theirs at all. But I think UConn had it a lot closer since they only lost by 6 instead of 18. So
I mean, I think you can win at a 0.1% chance. I mean, just flashback to Duke UConn, final 10 seconds. But, you know, I mean, I finished 4th in the bracket. It's good to be in front of all you guys. But I mean, UConn in the final, I expected it. But honestly, I know you guys said it was kind of surprising for Michigan to make it as far and be able to be as dominant. But honestly, I think after that St. Louis game where they went and won by 30+ against a very good offensive team, and especially with Illinois doing as well as they did, I mean, honestly showed how powerful the Big Ten was. Purdue was doing really well as well. But, yeah, of course, congratulations to Michigan. I think Dusty May really proved himself as a good coach. I mean, he used Elliot Cadeau, Ade Mara, Yaxel Lindenberg, all those players to the best potential they could and got them in a position to win. So.
I do want to highlight the Women's March Madness Championship. UCLA did win, and I had them winning, not in a bracket, but last episode I had them winning because of the Ball brothers, and they did win, and the game was very, very well. I did watch clips of that as well. Did anyone else watch the game?
I did.
No, you did?
no.
It was a slaughterhouse. Of course, all credit to South Carolina. They put together such a good squad, but with a team led by entirely all seniors in UCLA, and how Lauren Betts and Gabriella Hawkwez and all the seniors that have been built by this team, it honestly shows how seniority as well puts together such a good team. And they really kind of cemented a lot of their prospects as being top 10 players in the next draft with the WNBA draft coming up. But honestly, I think personally, if UConn was in that position against UCLA, it might have been a bit of a better game because, of course, Dawn Staley, complete credit to her, fantastic coach. But I feel like Jean REM is able to get in those better situations. But of course, you can only play the games in front of you. So.
Yeah, and it's also March Madness. Anything can happen, and I think this season of it was very fun. I had a lot of fun doing this bracket with everyone, and I hope you guys had the same amount of fun as it was for me.
I had a
think it
great
was a
time.
cool idea.
I had fun doing the different parts, but
and hopefully next year we can do better.
Yeah,
You
I'd
you guys got it. Be cheering you on
can
from
come back
Boston.
and visit. You can come
I'll
back and
FaceTime in.
visit.
I'll like zoom in.
Yeah.
I'll put you right here on the
Oh yeah.
Tiny little FaceTime. But did you guys see with women's basketball? But they didn't. I don't think they made the bracket. But Tennessee currently has one person ready for their
zero.
roster.
It's actually zero.
Did she just decommit?
She transferred out.
Because I know there was one, and then they were like, "There's no way she's gonna stay." They do
See-
not have a team because everyone lost eligibility or they're transferring out. And I sat there on Instagram when I saw that and was like, looking at everyone's Instagram, and I'm like, okay.
See, the fun thing about that is, I mean, I could talk hours about how I hate the transfer portal and NIL, but it's honestly a shame how a program as dominant as Tennessee's been lose all their players and have to basically start from scratch. Now they have to get all
It's
these
gonna be
players
like TCU
in.
where they got to do open auditions or whatever TCU
Yeah,
had to
L-
do.
have
LSU a few years
tryouts.
ago did the same thing. The men's team, they lost everybody and they had to start from scratch, and well, they're still trying to rebuild. But it's honestly a shame how these programs now, it's all money-based and how...
I do think that if Tennessee, now that they do have more openings for NIL with basically no one on their roster, it'll make recruiting a little bit easier. I don't think they're going to get, obviously they're not going to get the high recruits, but I do think there's going to be a market that they can buy some of the maybe the lower players in the transfer portal and work their way up from there, hopefully. I agree with you. I don't like NIL. I think there's got to be limits on it. You know, obviously the purpose of being able to like compensate athletes for what they deserve, but I agree with that principle. I just think that it's gotten out of hand, and you know, in instances like this has kind of ruined college sports. Now, I know there's talk of legislation that, you know, could maybe control it in some ways, and I do hope that happens. And a lot of people were saying that NIL kind of ruined this year's March Madness because there weren't as many upsets. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I don't think it's got to be like upset after upset after upset. There were still a few, but when you look, there were less than other years, and you do have to wonder, like, is that because of the transfer portal? And you know, the teams with the most money can pay the most players. So I'm very interested to see whether this gets worse, whether it gets better. I don't think it's going to stay like this forever. I think it's going to change in some ways. I'm very interested to see.
Yeah. Just to go back to March Madness for a second, Michigan's starting lineup was entirely not from Michigan.
Yeah.
So.
Like from the state or like from
Nobody
the
was,
originally?
Yeah,
so nobody's from originally from the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, there was only 22 seniors this year that were from the school they were originally committed to.
Oh, like in the entire?
In the entire
okay.
Division I.
Oh yeah, NIL.
don't
I could go on a rant about the transfer portal. I did when we had the 9th year of eligibility.
Gwen, with Tennessee, you're going to grad school. Why not get a spot on the women's team?
Guys,
you know?
I got this. I can't
They're
make
open.
a basket to save my life, but I could try. I can run, kind
you
of.
could transfer in, you know?
Oh, you know me. I could.
Well, we
I could play
can't
any sport.
lose the whole crew now. We still got to do Flight Zone.
That is true. That is true.
We got 2 phones. We can FaceTime
It's
them.
just David and Sal. And then Elle and I are in March Madness. Like,
Yeah.
wait, guys, hold
So
on.
we're looking at our bracket this year. Tennessee, Ella and Gwen. They're going all the way. Just 2, Ella and Gwen.
We're running back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anywho, moving in from D1 back down to D3, we have David Bray with Bray's Breakdown up next.
See you soon.
Welcome back to Bray's Breakdown, where we talk about everything in Elizabethtown athletics. It's been a bit, but fortunately we are back to take a look at how the Blue Jays have been doing. But first, before we head into that, for those who have been watching our March Madness segment, I'd just like to put out there that it's good to be in front of everybody else on the panel. First, with baseball, they were able to pick up one of the 3 games in the series against Wilkes, with an electric 4-run 7th inning, giving the Blue Jays enough to outlast the #1 team in the Landmark Conference, winning 4-2. Senior David Woolley had a solid afternoon, batting 3 for 4 with a run, and sophomore A.J. Lipscomb bat 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Etown took their next game on the road against a tough Penn State Harrisburg team, where they picked up a strong 9-2 victory. Woolley hit 2 home runs. Senior Alex McLean hit a solo home run, and Lipscomb added insurance runs with a home run in the 8th inning. While piling on 7 runs in the first 3 innings, Etown was able to take care of business in a huge non-conference win. Senior Justin Marasini had a strong outing, pitching 5 innings with 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and 6 strikeouts. Yesterday, Etown dropped the road game against York 5-2, as it couldn't keep the bats hot throughout the week. Despite a 2-run single by sophomore Nate Moser, it wasn't enough to make a complete comeback. The Blue Jays moved to 17-9 on the season and will take on Juniata on the road on Saturday and Sunday for their 3-game series. Softball has been on a roll recently, splitting the series against Wilkes and against Lebanon Valley this week. The Blue Jays got started with a 2-run 3rd inning as senior Brooke Husko doubled, scoring junior Hannah Long, followed by an RBI single by freshman Morgan Carr to score Husko. Wilkes rallied in the 4th, scoring 3 runs. Etown tried to make a comeback, but after Wilkes took a 1-run lead, the Blue Jays ran out of time as they fell 4-3. Etown got a second chance in Game 2, defeating the Colonels 3-2. A 3-run 3rd inning was all it took for the Blue Jays to find the lead, as junior Sarah Berner sent a 3-run home run into the seats to take the lead. Etown's series against LVC was extremely eventful, as Etown took an early 6-0 lead. LVC fought all the way back, tying the game in the top of the 6th. the Blue Jays won't go down easily as sophomore Izzy Akalitis hit her first career home run into left center field as the Blue Jays won 7-6. The final game was a pitching battle, with the Dutchman blanking the Blue Jays as the sole run came across early in the game. Etown lost the second game of the doubleheader 1-0. With their game against Muhlenberg this afternoon, we will have to see what the final scores are for the doubleheader. However, Etown moves to 14-10 on the year. Men's lacrosse had an eventful day against Lycoming, defeating the Warriors 24-0 on the road. Junior Reese Levinson had 6 goals, followed by senior Jay Rodriguez with 4 goals and junior Tristan Coleman with 4 goals, among the team's leaders. Etown dropped their next conference game against Catholic 18-9, as the hat-trick by Coleman wasn't enough to contain the Cardinals. The Blue Jays moved to 4-9 on the season and will take on Wilkes on Saturday for Senior Day. Women's lacrosse had an eventful Senior Day, defeating Lycoming 15-11. Sophomore Haley Meyer led the Blue Jays with 5 goals, followed by Ella Scholes with 4 goals. The Blue Jays had a tough loss yesterday against Catholic, dropping a game to their conference opponent 17-4. The Blue Jays moved to 7-5 on the season and will take on Wilkes on the road on Saturday. In other news on campus, Etown's women's soccer team has finally ended their search for a head coach, as Ryan Sipe was announced yesterday by Elizabethtown Athletics. Sipe spent the last 5 seasons as the assistant coach at Penn State Harrisburg, as the team put together a 65, 25, and 21 record, while earning 3 regular season titles. Sipe hopes to hit the ground running with the Blue Jays and lead the team towards success in the near future. This week's Player of the Week is going to belong to the player who shattered multiple Elizabethtown and Landmark records over the past week and has the opportunity to break many more over the rest of the season. David Woolley, the new Etown and Landmark walks leader, the Etown at-bats leader, the Etown and Landmark runs leader, and the most hits against Landmark opponents in history. Also, with the 2 home runs against Penn State Harrisburg, he's continuing his reign of terror through the Division III. Great job, David. Now back to Ella, Sal, Gwen, and myself in the studio.
All right, thank you so much, David.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
We will see you next week for Flight Sim, and as always,